Hi, I'm Angelique, also known as The Light. Welcome to my channel. Please stop what you're doing. Click like on this video, subscribe, share this video, stay a while, stick around, learn something, okay? Let's talk about Devon Franklin and Meagan Good. I usually don't do videos like this, but I had to chime in on this divorce because I like Meagan Good. I like Devon Franklin, you know, but the opinions in the videos that I'm seeing on this divorce, I have never seen in a while people be so happy for a divorce. And that saddens me. And I'm just like, are people that miserable that they actually don't want to see people successful in relationships? Or is it that they felt Meagan Good wasn't good enough for Devon? Because when I saw them get together, I was like, oh, okay. But at the same time, I was like, girl, Meagan, I wouldn't want to do that if I was you. And why? Because he's a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. And if anybody knows anything about Seventh-day Adventism, it's me. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist and I left the religion about 10 years ago. Okay. One of the best decisions I've ever made in my life was leaving the Christian church, leaving the Adventist church. There's no hard feelings or, shade to the Christian church or the Adventist church. It was just not for my soul. Okay. And I have healed and become a better woman, a better person, uh, a better daughter to God ever since I left Adventism. Okay, Adventist Christianity, for those of you who don't know, it is Sabbath worship. Yes, they believe in God, the Son, the Father. It's Trinity, but it is a very strict religion. Okay, very strict religion. It was funny because growing up, people would call me a black Jew. Okay, so one thing about being Adventist is it is really a lot behind the scenes now. It is really about the appearance of who you are, okay? Here in America, I'm from Queens, New York. I'm not going to say what church was my home church, but I'm just going to say it's Northeastern Conference. And I grew up in Queens, New York, and my church, my home church, is in Queens, New York. And one thing I can say about being Adventist used to be, growing up in Adventism is a lot of facade. It's really about looking good and not really being good. Okay. So as long as you look good on paper, as long as you got that degree, okay, as long as you have that prestige, you look good, you look godly, then you're good, okay? But nobody really checks the soul and the spirit and the heart in the Adventist church, okay? So it's a lot of judgment, a lot of judgment. And I remember 10 years ago, I think they've been married for 9 years, but they dated for about a year. So let's say 10 years ago, I remember when Devon got with Meagan, and I remember that's around the time that I was leaving Adventist faith. And I'm telling you, all the Adventist women in the church were losing their mind when he announced that he was going to marry Meagan Good. Oh my gosh, why would he choose Meagan? She's worldly. That's like, worldly is like, you're basically the sinner. You're basically uh, a worldly person. Okay, and that's another thing about Christianity and Seventh Day Adventism. Adventism is that it's like I think I'm better than you because I'm Christian or I'm in a religion. Where I feel like Christians and Adventism should spend more time in. If you're trying to really win souls, because that's another thing about Christianity. If you're always trying to win souls, you should try to be able to relate on different levels, okay? But then when the people who are from the outside come into the church, it's so much judgment. Oh, why your skirt is so short, and why are you wearing that, and oh, it's sad. It's not a welcoming faith. It's just not. I didn't grow up feeling welcomed, or when I would invite my friends to church, I did not feel as if I didn't feel like they were being welcomed. Okay, and Meagan Good had a lot of issues. I remember that video of them being at some I don't know, some platform, and a woman in the audience said to Meagan Good, "You gonna cover up now? You gonna cover up now?" And she started crying. She's saying this in front of a huge stadium or church full of people. To my, yeah, I saw you in a magazine stand and you was showing your breasts. And Devon Franklin, he supported his wife. He stepped in and he was just like, we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do that. She's gonna wear what she wants to wear. She's gonna wear what she wants. She's as Christian as she could be. And yeah, see, one thing that's pissing me off is that they're making it seem like Meagan Good is like she tainted this Christian boy and lured him in with her women, her feminine wiles and her body and stuff like that. No, Devon had a choice. Devon had a choice. They say opposites attract. I say like spirits attract. Okay, I believe they are spiritually equally yoked. They may not be equally yoked when it comes to religion, but there is no way that this man, knowing the caliber that he's supposed to be, oh, being degreed up, having accolades, having being a pastor, okay, being a movie producer, director, writer, all these hats that he wears. He had a choice. He didn't have to marry Meagan Good. Don't get me wrong, Meagan Good look good. She's fine as hell. But he was surrounded by so many different women, Adventist women. He chose a worldly woman. Why do you think he chose a worldly woman? Why? There had to be something in his spirit and in her spirit for them to want to come together. I do see the growth in Devon. Okay, I think that she has changed him, and I think he has changed her. But now she's, Meagan Good is on a new show called Harlem. It is a very worldly show. You know, it's a lot of sex, it's a lot of cursing, it's a lot of drinking, and a lot of different, homosexuality. It's all these different things. So I could see probably why I think Meagan Good was probably not being true to her soul. Okay, and one thing about Adventist men and women, they have to play this part, okay? So I am going to say that I don't think that they have bad blood with each other. I don't think they were equally yoked in a religious sense, but there had to be something about his spirit and her spirit to interact. I will never take away and say that they didn't save lives or didn't give people hope. It's sad that people are focusing more on the negative about their marriage. They had a whole brand, they had a whole empire. They claimed they waited, months or a year before, they were celibate in order to, during their courtship, and they waited to have sex until they got married. They had the book The Wait, then they made another book, I believe, so they had a brand and they built wealth together. Like, give them credit for that. It doesn't mean that it's a facade. One thing I also commend, and I think that Will and Jada need to pay attention to this, is when it's time to let somebody go. In Christianity, of course, they don't believe in divorce, and he's a Christian. And he's divorcing her. Okay, he's the one that filed. But you don't know what they talked about. If they have the same Instagram posts, if weeks ago he's still posting and supporting her on this show that's filled with sex and and all kind of stuff, that Christians don't normally support. Do you think he's doing it because he's keeping up with the Adventist facade, the pastor facade, or do you think he really genuinely does love her and still and care about her? I think he still loves her. I think he still cares for her. I don't think they're getting divorced because they hate each other. I think they're getting divorced because they realize they cannot move forward. She doesn't feel free. I don't think she's a Leo, he's an Aries. I don't think as a Leo, I'm a Leo as well. I don't think as a Leo she feels free to be herself. Leave the worldly people alone. Christians, hello, Christians. I know we look good. I know we sparkly and we seem fun and we seem exciting and you want to play with us like we're some toy. Leave the spiritualists alone. Leave the worldly people alone. And worldly people or spiritual people, leave these Christians, leave these religious people alone. It doesn't work. It's very rare when somebody who is religious gets with someone who's a free spirit or who's spiritual, a spiritualist, and it works. It doesn't. For me, it's never worked. Last year, I dated a Muslim guy. Why did I do that? I have no idea why I did that. I wanted to give him a chance, and what happened? I completely accepted his religion and wanted to know more about his faith and his um, spiritual routines and rituals, but he could not grasp my spirituality, you know, of me. I practice African and Cuban, spiritualism. Okay, that's something that he just couldn't understand. And a lot of religious people are very judgmental and cannot understand spirituality. It's devil worship to them. When I'm lighting my candle or burning myself, oh my gosh, that's witchcraft. That's this, that's that. It's part of my culture, it's part of my heritage, and you're telling me it's evil. So please try to stay equally yoked. That is what happened between, I believe, with these two. They got with people who didn't have the same vision. Then she talked about she didn't know she wanted children. He wanted children. They weren't equally yoked in certain areas, okay? But I think their mindset about business and their attraction and chemistry to each other was highly, highly strong, and they probably had a good friendship. I'm a Leo. I love me some Aries men. Ooh, mm, I love me some Aries men. So I get it. I understand. And I think Aries men love Leo women too. It's a very, two fire signs, is a very strong chemistry between those two, probably. And, Aries men are very ambitious and they're just like, oh, they're so sexy. They're about their business, about their goals, and they're teachers. They're natural teachers. You can even tell by the way Devon Franklin talks. He is always teaching, and she's kind of like more of a submissive type, and she has a lot of feminine energy, and she's more more of like an empath and just gentle and sexy. She's more like the sex kitten, so I could see why they hooked up. But at the end of the day, when she's in her acting role, she likes to be in worldly acting, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just learn to leave people where they at. I don't care how sparkly and shiny they are. It doesn't work. It's very rare. If you find yourself where you're spiritual or you're worldly and you're dating a religious person and it works, you're one of the lucky ones, because it barely, to I don't think it happens much. And I think that spirituality, religion is very, very um important. It's very, very serious. There's nothing to be played with, especially when it comes to marriage. But I don't think he's innocent. I don't think that he's a victim in this. I think he's divorcing her to kind of save his reputation. But he likes her. Because if he didn't, why would he defend her publicly? Why when she would be on the red carpet with her breast out and he know he's a pastor, why you think that before they walked out the house he didn't see what his wife had on? He liked that shit. Devon Franklin likes that. So he's not innocent. But it's gotten to the point where it's time for them to part, because he's probably like, listen, I don't mind you doing that, but you can't do that because I'm a pastor. Maybe if he wasn't a pastor, they would be able to work out. But because he's a pastor, he has to keep a certain image. But Devon Franklin likes that. Don't think that man is innocent. No. Mm-mm. He met her sexy. He likes her sexy. He likes her personality. He likes what she represents. Even though he said he didn't want to date an actress, but he fell in love with it. He fell in love with her. And I didn't like how she said in the beginning. I've seen her say in interviews that Oh, I thought he was out of my league. Let me tell y'all something right now. Okay, for those of you who may be attracted to Christian men or religious men, Adventist men, they're not out of your league. They're not. They're human. I have got done the worst by Adventist men, okay? I have got done the dirtiest by Christian men, men who was in the Baptist church, Pentecostal church, okay? Yes, even that Muslim guy, he was playing games too, okay? So they're not innocent. They're not innocent. They're human just like you. You're not out of their league, but they are, by all costs, they are going to um defend and protect their image. Image is huge, okay? Religious men, a lot of religious men, they do their dirt behind the scenes. They play with you, they'll marry you, but you can't let the world see who they really are, okay? I've had religious men say, dang, I really want to be with you, but I'm not going to be able to, like, publicly date you. Excuse you, sir? You better leave me alone. So, yes, to me, religious men are off limits. So, I've already made an announcement. I do not date religious men. I'm sorry. I know a lot of y'all Jesus lovers love me. Get it out your mind. It's not gonna happen. Okay. The last man who was religious, he was Muslim. I love him. I care for him. He's a great friend still, but I will never ever get back with him. Okay, because it's about the facade of it. And I hope he finds a nice Muslim girl to be with. And I hope Devon goes and finds him a nice Adventist girl who wear her skirt down to her ankle, okay? And she's the leader in the Pathfinders, or I don't know, AYS director or whatever, okay? Stick to your own kind, okay? Stick to your own kind if you can't take the heat in the kitchen, all right? Be equally yoked. Even though I'm not Christian, I am a huge believer that I prefer today's spiritual men, and I hope Meagan Good finds a more like a spiritual dude who's more free spirit. But even that's another thing. Even in spirituality, here's what's funny. I had more sex when I was an Adventist than I did now as a spiritual woman. Okay, so it's very, very interesting. I have done more dirt when I was a Christian than I do now. So it is not true. People think, oh, you just want to be in spirituality because you don't want structure. There's a lot of structure in spirituality. I can't roam around and do what I want. Even in spirituality, there are times where I have to cover my hair. A lot of you, or cover my head. A lot of you, wait, why you wear so many wigs or why you wear headbands? Because I am instructed to cover my head. So please do not think that there is no structure to spirituality, that spiritual women are just out here frolicking amongst all these men in the world and spiritual women are worldly. No, there is structure. There is guidelines that are spiritual. There are things that I can't do as a spiritual woman that you probably could do as a worldly woman. So there is definitely structure. So I send out healing and love and blessings to Devon Franklin. I like how you never heard no dirt. They're calling Meagan Good. Meagan Good's 40 years old now. They're talking about stuff that she did when she was in her 20s. Most people have sex and dated in their 20s. The only difference is that she's a celebrity and that's how we know about it. Oh, she used to smoke cigarettes. She used to drink. I heard she did cocaine. A lot of your mamas and daddies did cocaine in the 80s and 90s. If you go and ask them, they would tell you that, even the Christian ones, okay? Even mine did it. So I think, I hope that Devon Franklin and Meagan Good both learned their lesson and they need to be with people who they could be equally yoked, okay? So good luck to you. Stay away from them church folks. If you're spiritual, if you worldly, stay away from them church folks. It usually does not work. And yeah, blessings to them, healing to them. And it's so unfortunate because when you're 40, I think she froze her eggs. When you're 40, he can go on and marry and have kids, till he dies. But, thank God she froze her eggs. She might want to get married again and have children in another, year or two if she finds someone else. But yeah, don't play with religion, don't play spirituality, don't play with marriage. All right. Send those donations in and book a phone session with me about spiritualism, relationships, friendships, narcissism, zodiacs, long as it's kosher. All that information will be in my description bar. In the comment section, just click on the link, make your payment. After you make your payment, email me at neoang3000 at yahoo.com to set up your phone session. Peace and blessings, and have an amazing 2022.